in here, I did a little rain gauge. I wanted to see how much rain we had since then, and it appears that we have had 10 mils of rain since then, so not very much. I thought we'd actually have a little bit more. Unfortunately, we managed to catch a grasshopper, so it's a little bit of an uneven table. Sorry, Craig, so it's about 10 mils. So we'll probably put that out there again just now and see how much this storm is going to bring. I would imagine that in this weather, it looks like it's going to be a really big downpour rather than just the soft rain that we've been experiencing over the last few weeks. So hopefully we'll get quite a lot falling in our rain gauge, and we'll see exactly how much we get by the end of the show. So I'm going to go put that outside and see what we've got out here as well. Also, we'll just have a little look and see how our storm is progressing. I'll put that back there. But it looks to me like the storm is still on its way. You can see over to our western side over here that there's some really dark, gnarly clouds that are coming through, so they don't look very nice at all. And there are a few little drops starting to fall. So I'd imagine that we are in for a bit of rain shortly. Let's hope the lightning doesn't come though, because the lightning is a bit of a problem. No one really likes too much lightning around, so let's hope that that doesn't happen. Now, I did come to my tent to try and see if I can identify my moth that we saw on our tree of life, and so far the closest thing I can get to is called a cream spot tiger moth. Now I'm just trying to find a really nice picture of it. It's probably the best one that we can pick up. So it's called a cream spot tiger moth, and I want to do a little bit more research about it. But the interesting thing is all the pictures that I can find, the actual body of the moth is black. Now the one that we photographed or saw earlier has a white body, so I want to try and see if maybe it's to do with the area that we're in, or maybe this is a subspecies, but it does have that creamy black and yellow spotted pattern, so I would imagine it must be the same moth. It's just maybe a subspecies, or there's a variation in the body itself, which is great news. And there's a few others that I need to try and look at and try and see. Now, I wonder what else we can have a look at. I did have a look at the giraffe skull with the stingless bees, but the stingless bees are hidden away, and I know Tayla the other day was trying to warm them up and trying to get them to get a little bit active and start coming out, but unfortunately she didn't succeed. And I had a look at our giraffe skull a little bit earlier, and there was really no sign of the stingless bees either, so I don't think they're going to be out and about, but I will poke around there just now, and I wonder what else we can find. Like I say, let me go and look outside. So unfortunately, we've got to be a bit careful with the tent. The taller gentlemen that we have in this camp, we have a camp full of very tall people. Hit your head on the tent every now and then. So I know Brent and Brian had a few issues the other day, so just got to remember to duck when we go out. So while I go looking around and seeing what we can find and see what we can put under the microscope, let's go across to Jamie, who I believe has now got her roof and is also nice and warm and cozy.
We do indeed have our roof on. I wouldn't describe it as warm and cozy, not quite as warm and cozy as the tent, but at least we don't run the risk of hitting our heads on it, do we, Viam? No.
Not people of our height.
Especially not people of our height. We don't need to stress in the slightest that we're going to get a concussion from sitting in here. So I'm going to lurk, I think, a little bit, just to see if the storm does actually break. It's raining, and I heard a few rumbles of... you have to be so quick. Luckily we've got Viam on camera. It looked like a Jacobin from what I briefly saw. It could be a Levalence or a Levalence cuckoo. Oh, there, it's calling for us. Cool. Jacobin. How awesome is that? That's one bird we don't often get to catch on camera. Certainly not calling. It's also the one thing I've been dying to show you, and I've never managed to pull it off, is show you the melanistic one that lives at Red Dam. So there's one for all of you birders out there. One to add to your bird list. I just want to sneak up on this one. Sneaky bird. There you go. Kathy, you were wondering whether or not the cuckoos had migrated off. I'm sorry, it was a Levalence, not a Jacobin. It was a Levalence. Jackie, not yet. We've still got another month or so before they go. Oh no, actually we're nearly in March. But less than that. They're going to be going relatively soon, in the next few weeks. But they're still around. I've still seen one or two. The Deirdricks have gone quiet. And that is... I haven't seen one of either a Jacobin or a Levolence in a while. So they are starting to go quieter, but they haven't left us just yet. We've still got a bit longer left with them. They are still around, and this rain is lovely weather for them because it means all sorts of insects will be popping out afterwards, that they can bulk up in preparation for their respective journeys. Most of them going up sort of towards central northern Africa. Most of them not traveling too far, apart of course from the European cuckoo. That's got a little bit further to go. Ooh, here comes the wind. I assume that Tayla's also racing back to get her roof on as well. It's very pretty. I'm going to stop a little bit ahead. There's a viewpoint up ahead to show you how pretty it is. Tayla's braving it. She's going to stick it out. She's decided she's not going to go and fetch her roof. She's going to stick it out and go off in search of Karula. Fair play. But I feel much more comfortable with our roof on. Alright. Let me nip around this corner. I'll show you what it looks like. You can see the blue skies to the east of us, and then the storm coming in behind. Alright, let me try and get this right with the roof. That's always the tricky thing with this sort of situation. Let's view it for the side. Okie dokie. There we go. You see, it's really pretty. It's really quite lovely. That definitely sounds like thunder to me. And the storm slowly but surely rolling across. That's lovely. Isn't that beautiful? This side's not so pretty. It's a bit dark. Bit dark and scary. Okay, let us go. Now that our plans have changed, let's go see what else we can find. Alright, I know that Tayla's been dying to show off her new purchase. Let's go and see if it looks as amazing as I suspect it might.
Are you talking about my plastic raincoat? I bought it because my other rain jacket, which I think I gave to Jamie today to wear, it's too hot because there's wool inside, so it's no good for summer when we get the rain. It's fantastic on those chilly mornings because it keeps you nice and cool. So I really wanted to get something, well, that was just light and kept me dry on these hot afternoons like we're experiencing today. So my jacket, it's got a hood. Very cozy. I actually feel like I'm wearing one of those doctor's gowns. It's got little buttons, so it's easy to take off as well in case it gets too hot. Very nice. So yeah, it's lovely. You can adjust the sleeves. It's really wonderful. It's one of those one size fits all. But I've got good news for you. But the good news might only come in a little bit. But just through here, we heard a couple of vehicles moving around, and this is where one of Karula's cubs are. So I'm not sure exactly. I will try and get hold of the guides on the Eastern Channel to have a look at some point. I can actually hear them now. So we're just waiting, hoping that, of course, the cubs are going to cross the road because they're not far. I would say, I'm just trying to listen to see if I can hear more movement. Hang on, let's see. It sounds like they've just said there's a female leopard. I'm going to ask these guys for a little update to see what's going on. What is that? Yeah, I can hear vehicles. Probably about, I would say about 80 yards. Maybe not even 80 yards away. Let's ask them. Jamie for Tayla. No, someone else is talking now. Jamie, can you give me an update? Do you guys have Karula's cubs, or is it Karula herself that's here just off little Gary's driveway? I can hear them. They're here. Ooh. So it sounds like Karula's with her cubs. And they are very close to our boundary. So this is them. They're in here. Karula's in here with her 2 cubs. I'm just speaking to Jamie, not Madam Patterson, another Jamie Sangster. He guards at Arathusa. So they're just in here. So you know what we're going to do? We're not moving. We're going to sit right here on the boundary, and we're going to wait for these leopards to come, because if we do decide to move away and go for a loop, they might cross in, and Taxon, everybody's moved off and out of this area now, so we're just going to wait for them. I wonder if Karula, because she's come onto our property, I wonder if she hasn't made a kill this side, and she's gone and she's fetching them and she's bringing them back across. That's what we can hope for. So keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully that is exactly what happens. I mean, just say, can you guys confirm, is she mobile towards Gari Main, or is she static? No. See, I don't know if I've got signal with them. Every now and then I have these little boosts where I can hear them. And then there's other times where I can't. But you see, this is a good spot because we can see a good distance down either side of the road. So if she does do a sneaky and she pops out further west, we've got about 150, maybe almost 200 yards that we can see down. So we'll see her crossing. And then also we'll just follow the sound of the vehicle, I suppose, too. But the rain has let off where we are, and this is where we initially started to feel the drizzling and the wind changing. So, well, now we have to play the patience game, which is, it's a hard game, but it always ends up being well worth it if you do stick around and wait. Well, this is exciting. Like I said, we're not going anywhere. I've just seen a vehicle pop out in front. We're going to go and have a chat to them. So let's go back across to Tristy Wisty in the tent.
I feel like we've got a fair amount of name throwing going around here, and I'm not sure Tristy Wisty is the best one. I still think Tay, the African pygmy sister, works much better. But anyway, we've looked around, and there's really not too much happening outside of the tent today. I was looking for any signs of animals and insects and varying things, and it's all a little bit quiet. So what I thought is that I would have a look at the potter wasp nest that I think it was James that found it, or Brent, one of the 2 of them found this the other day, and I wanted to see how the little grubs inside were doing and if they are indeed still in there. So you can see that this clay has been built onto the stick, and so we just broke the stick off and we want to have a look. Now, if I take the stick away, you can actually see inside there are the holes, and there are the little grubs. Now, I'm not sure if they're still alive at this stage, so what we're going to probably do, so we'll probably put them on the microscope just now and see if we can get a better visual, but that's going to take a bit of time to set that one up. But it's pretty incredible. Basically what happens is these potter wasps, as the name suggests, they basically sculpt a nest out of mud and water. So what you'll find is if you go to a little muddy section or a little muddy pan in the reserve somewhere, you'll find these little markings on the edges, and it almost looks like little lines that have been scraped into the mud, and that's basically where the wasp has landed and used its mouth parts to collect little clumps of mud. It then flies to a tree where it will deposit all of these little clumps together to build this little cocoon or nest, should we call it, and inside there then it lays its larvae. And so the larvae have a very strong area to grow inside. If you tap this, it's very, very hard. It's almost like using concrete or hardened mud. If you've ever been somewhere where there's really hard mud, it's like that. And so the larvae can grow up inside there completely unhindered, and it makes it very difficult for predators to get anywhere near it. Now, I have seen these nests quite often or quite commonly near a little waxbill nest. So what happens is the waxbills will actually utilize this as a way of being able to have a defense mechanism. So they know if they see this nest that wasps are going to be coming in and out and being around there. And so sometimes you'll find that the waxbills will build close to either potter wasps or paper wasp nests. and they'll then use it as a way of defending their own chicks. So the waxbills are very, very clever. They know that if anything comes towards the nest of the waxbills, then the wasps that are around are going to be disturbed as well, and they're going to come flying out and sting that predator and keep them away. So it's a really interesting little dynamic that the waxbills and the wasps have. Now, I'm not sure that these are still alive. Like I say, I want to put them under the microscope just to check, but I don't think that these little wasps are alive. So I'm just trying to get it up quickly. So it's a little bit of a balancing act with the nest itself. Just got to get the focus right, just hold on. So sometimes it's a little bit of a trick. Now James is really, really good at this. He gets it right in 2 seconds. But I don't normally get it right as quickly, so it takes me a little bit longer to get going. I'm just trying to get the focus right to see if there's actually any movement. But now you can see the yellow of the actual pupa inside there, and it doesn't look like it's moving at all. There's no sign that I can see of any movement inside there. So I would imagine in all likelihood that these are no longer alive, which is a shame. It would have been really amazing to watch this whole process and see as they grew up and then started to hatch from this little nest. It would have been really, really cool. But it looks like everybody is no longer, unfortunately. Now, this does happen from time to time. Sometimes in nature, these things don't hatch. And if there's temperature changes, sometimes you'll find insects don't do what they're supposed to. And with this cold little snap that we've had and rain, sometimes that's what happens. So unfortunately for our possum wasps, they're no longer. Now, earlier, I believe Jamie was saying that I should be eating, I think she was saying a buffalo thorn. Is that right, Lou? I seem to forget. So Jamie was saying that I need to get some buffalo thorn to have a little munch on as I go, and the reason why was, I think she's referring to the lightning side of it, but it's also really a good snack. So a lot of people actually eat these leaves, and all you can do is you can eat them like this, which they're quite tasty. They're quite sweet when they're little tender leaves like this. You mustn't pick the big ones, because the big ones end up being not so good. They taste a bit leafy, if that's the way we can call it, but these are quite sweet and tender, and so people do actually harvest these leaves and eat them. Sometimes they'll boil them down and eat them much like a spinach. So they are really, really tasty, and given that we have been walking around, a very welcome snack indeed. So I'm quite chuffed that Jamie reminded me of that. Also, I'm quite glad that I didn't get struck by lightning as well. So talking of Jamie, let's go across to Jamie and see how she's doing.
I decided that since we didn't actually get to fully play out our plans from this morning, Brent and myself both encountered tracks for Shadow, going straight back towards the area that is still zoned, where they suspect she was keeping her cubs earlier. We don't know whether or not they're still there. But I thought we'd come and just potter around Arathusa. Obviously not go into the zoned area, but just move around and see whether there's any chance of just seeing Shadow and seeing if she's alright and how she's doing. Now, I've come across to Red Dam, which is one of her favourite spots, just to see what's happening, and also to investigate how much rain they've had in this particular side of the reserve and see how full the waterholes are. It's been a long time since I've done this particular circuit. Now that's my plan for the rest of the afternoon. It doesn't look as though the storm's actually going to descend upon us. Of course, speaking about the amount of rain that we've had, Thomas, you want to know if the level of rain has removed the threat of another drought this year. It's certainly mitigated it, and for a lot of South Africa, there's been enough rain to properly fill up the various dams and the various river systems that the entire country relies upon. The waterholes are still not completely full on Djuma, which would be ideal in order to get all the way through the dry season without them drying up. But I think that we're okay. I think that we're going to be much better off than we were before Nat.Geo came through and brought all of those sort of successive low pressure systems and all of that rain. I think we're going to be okay. It's definitely not going to be as bad as last year, but it's hard to predict. We could get nothing else now for the rest of the rainy season. We are reaching the end, And if we have a few 40-degree days, it starts to basically undo all of the good that the rain has done over the past few weeks. We'll just have to wait and see, but I certainly think we're much better off than we used to be. Hello, Red Dam. Okay, Red Dam's pretty much the same. Here we go. That's pretty much the same level as it has been in the past. Any hippo? No. You can see the light sprinkles of rain on the surface of the dams. The lovely thing about all of this rain is it's brought back some of the bird species that we've been missing, and it seems as though Tayla's managed to find you some.
Can you believe who we've come across? We arrived at Twin Dams, and here we are. Mr. and Mrs. Saddle-billed stork. And here we have the male that we're looking at the moment. Very easy to tell that it is indeed a boy, is because he's got those wattles underneath his chin. Now, I'm not going to stay too long with these birds, and I'll tell you why. We're going to have a quick look at them, is because it seems as though some male leopard has been found off Central Road. And I know we would love to go over there and have a look at them. We'll have a quick look at Mrs. Saddle-billed stork, but perhaps Tristan will be able to tell you a little bit more about them, just because I am going to race off in a moment. And I wanted to also give you the news that Karula has made a kill in Little Gowrie, not far from the cut line, and I suspect that they're going to be drinking from the mud wallows that we'd seen earlier. But I think this is a good spot for the birds. There are lots and lots of frogs in this wetland area, and of course there's a big dam, so I think that they will go with lots and lots of food around here. So it's a nice spot. Oh, look at it, it's going to take off. Oh, wow! Isn't that absolutely majestic? Go, Brian! Best cameraman ever! Look at that! Massive wingspan, long legs. And unlike they don't normally tuck their legs underneath, so you always see them sticking out, which is, well, a nice way to spot them when they're flying too. Oh, well, that's a pity that they didn't hang around here for too long. I'm sure that they'll be back. With all this water around, there is no need for the two of them to stay away. They could definitely do with culling the frog population at the moment, because, well, before you know it, they're going to be out of hand, and there's going to be lots of little frogs everywhere. Well, that was cool. A very quick sighting, but a fantastic one nonetheless. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed that as much as me. We're going to start heading now towards Central Road to find out which leopard we have, which is quite exciting. It sounds like whichever leopard it was, Tristan was asking if it was a relaxed leopard, and it probably is Tingana from the tracks that Brent had this morning. And we were actually walking around there looking for him. We didn't pick up on anything. He must have just been lying up. And a reason why he asked is because if it's Djuma and we say that it isn't, of course, relaxed, there's no point going after him because he just ducks from the vehicles during the day. He's better to be viewed at night. We'd rather give him a bit of space and only view him when he's comfortable. We're going to do a bit of racing off, and hopefully we'll have a leopard to show you in a moment. But we're going to go across to Jamie now, who is still on the search for shadow.
Exciting news from Tayla's side. Vium, of course, is thoroughly unimpressed. He's quite upset. He started off this morning with Brent tracking that leopard, and then this afternoon with myself, and then we got distracted by the need for a roof, which actually has turned out to be a relatively false alarm. And now this leopard's popped up on Central Road. Poor Vium is... I'm sorry, Vium. We'll have to try and make it up to you. We'll have to try and find shadow. Tayla says that she deserves it on the basis that she's been tracking Karula up and down all afternoon. What do you think, Vium?
I don't see Karula popping up anywhere.
Vium says he doesn't see Karula popping up anywhere. Well, I'm happy that Tayla's got a leopard sighting up her sleeve. I presume it is Tingana then. Might not be the same leopard that we were tracking. It's possible. Unlikely, but possible. So we're just going to go along some of Shadow's favourite routes and regular spots and haunts and see if there's any sign of her. Perhaps we'll get lucky and we just encounter her wandering on the road. very difficult tracking at the moment, and the soil, particularly on Arathusa, is so hard. Those tracks this morning were almost invisible. Wiem did a very good job of spotting them in the first place. Alright, Wiem. Well, we better find this leopard then, since we missed out on the other one. And all of our lions seem to be dodging our traverse area at the moment. And perhaps if we get really lucky, one of the males might come through from Simbambili. The Birmingham boys were around there. Oh, hello. Sorry everybody, just bear with me 1 second. Hello, Peter. Good afternoon. Hi guys. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, Peter?
Fine.
Good, thanks. Nothing much from our side. It looks as though Karula might be around where Tayla, but...
No, she's on Little Gari.
She's on Little Gari.
Mfuntla Bamba.
Aha.
They were coming north and then they went west and then they Bamba one.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, at least we know where she is.
Did you go to Red Dam now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lutu. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright,
Take it
enjoy. Cheers, guys. Bye. Alright, we're going to go search for Shadow. Let's find out what other exciting things Tristan has to show you in the tent.
So I was watching Tayla and she was telling me, well, she was saying that maybe we can give you some more information about the saddle-billed storks. Now, Tayla, they are a very, very interesting bird. There's really very few of them left out here, unfortunately, in the Kruger National Park system. They reckon that there's only about 25 to 30 breeding pairs left, and they were at one stage really, really endangered. They're starting to make a little bit of a comeback now, and over the last few years of really wet weather that we had prior to the drought, there was good numbers of them. They found really good habitats over a spread out area of the Kruger, and there was a very high success rate in the nestlings. So they actually did quite well over the last 10 years, and their population has expanded. And I believe the last article that I read that they reckon that maybe now there's as many as 90 breeding pairs, but they haven't confirmed that. So they're still busy underway with the sightings list. So as people drive around the Kruger, they take photographs and they send it in, and then people try and, well, people from the Endangered Wildlife Trust are trying to then work out how many breeding pairs we actually have. But the interesting thing about them is that in 1993 in the Kruger Park system, so here in the Sabi Sands and what we're part of, they reckon that there was only 60 of them left. So for them to bounce back to 90 breeding pairs is quite something. And as Tayla was saying, is that they spend a lot of time eating frogs and all kinds of things like that. And I've actually had a really incredible sighting of a saddle-billed stork once eating a terrapin. Now the terrapin must have been about that size, so the size of my head, and this saddle-billed stork was determined to eat this terrapin, and it beat it against a log for a while, and that didn't really work too well, and then it just popped the terrapin into its beak and swallowed it. And it was quite entertaining. For the next day, this saddle-billed stork walked around and it had this terrapin-shaped sort of bulge in its neck, and it wouldn't go further than midway down the neck, and it just stayed there. And then eventually over time it disappeared, and I didn't see the bird for a while. So it would be really interesting to know what actually happened to that bird, whether or not it was able to regurgitate it out, or if it eventually got it down and was able to swallow it. But it was quite something to see. I was really, really shocked that they would have been able to actually fit such a large item down their throat. So really cool to see. And the other really amazing sighting I've had of saddle-billed storks was juvenile saddle-billed stork being attacked by a fish eagle. Now it was quite amazing to watch. This fish eagle came down, it was actually a pair of them, and they came down and they attacked this saddle-billed stork, and they kept going after this little baby and over again, and they eventually actually killed it. The funny thing is though, they didn't eat it. For some reason they killed it, and then they flew away and they just left the carcass there, and eventually a hyena came and ate it. So quite an amazing story, and it just goes to show you that these birds face a lot of dangers that we don't even think about, and that's probably why their numbers have been low, is apart from loss of habitat in South Africa and in these Kruger areas, they've also go under these natural threats from birds of prey. I've seen them being chased by crocodiles once or twice. Leopards I've seen go after them. So they have quite a number of predators, which makes it quite difficult for them to stay alive. But it is got to be one of the most incredible birds that we see out here. Now, I'm not sure if Tayla mentioned if it was a male or female, but I pulled up some pictures on my phone here on my app just to be able to show you guys how it works. So if you have a look here, we have a view. Okay, so unfortunately we're going to carry on with our saddle-billed discussion, but Tayla, I believe, has found her spotted cat. So let's go over to her and see who it is.
We have got our spotted cat, and it looks like our dear friend Tingana. Hello, big boy. He's just walking right next to the vehicle right now. How cool is that? Oh my gosh. Isn't this amazing? Finally, after Brent's hard work paid off this morning of picking up those tracks initially, you can see him there. That's just, of course, the back of the vehicle that you're looking at now. And there's also other vehicles in the sighting with us. So we'll wait till he decides as to which direction he's going to move. We'll let Taxon come past. We'll let Pippa come past after that. And then we shall take up our spot. But that is wonderful. How cool. I'm so excited right now. We've had such a cool drive. We have had the elephant, we have had the hyena and the cubs come out. We had the saddle-billed storks, which were pretty amazing. And now, of course, a leopard. It really doesn't get too much better than that. We'll let Pippa come through, and then she can carry on. We'll take up the back seat over there, because I think we just got a lovely sneak peek. Hello, thank you so much. We're playing charades at the moment. No, it's not a problem. We can try to do the scenic way around as well. Oh no, it's a bit thick here. Okay, you'll just have to look at my pretty face. No, I'm just teasing. Right, so I don't know where he's going. So he's decided he's going up central now, so back towards Hyena Road, which is good because there's a lot of antelope around. Actually, you can just see, he's laid down in the middle of the road now. There he is. So I know he's behind a tree, but we can't quite reposition just yet. It's a very difficult spot. I don't think he's going to stay down for very long. And of course, as I say that, he gets up and starts moving. It's a perfectly cool day, so I'm not surprised that he started his afternoon off a little bit earlier than what he maybe normally would have if the sun was out in full force. Oh, wonderful. Great. Right, we're going to quickly head down and start turning around. Right, we'll just sneak over here. Now, I'm going to try and do this as quick as I absolutely can. And I've got hiccups now. Sorry, everybody. Right, let's turn here quickly. Woohoo! This is so exciting. Brian, are you excited?
I'm so excited.
So excited. I have to actually tell Brian to sit down, Brian. He's bounding off of his seat at the moment. Okay, that's nice. So what they've done, I have to say thank you to all of the other guides out here. They really are fantastic. And what they've done now, what Taxon has done, is he's actually taken another route so that we can follow from behind. But the nice thing is with us is we'll try and let the guys get as close as they need to, because we've got a big zoom on our camera. So there's no need for us, if you maybe don't have a good camera and you want to get a great picture, well, we're able to do so from quite a few yards away. Now you'll see there is another vehicle. We'll just get a spot so we can see him walking down the road past them. And no fear, not even looking back at the vehicle, completely relaxed. Now I hope he finds something along this way. We've just seen many impala and also quite a big herd of elephants off Vulture's Nest. Here we go. Using the luxury facilities. I wonder if we're going to get that delicious popcorn smell that you normally get from the leopard urine. There we go. There we go. Tax is going to turn around. So that's really amazing. Off he goes. So I hope he actually does decide to go down Vulture's Nest. Though I hope not towards those elephants, because that breeding herd will definitely chase him. There were a couple of youngsters around, but there were loads and loads of impala. It was a massive bachelor herd. And then if he goes even further down, back towards Cheetah, there was a big breeding herd of impala. Now I know I didn't get to chat too much about the saddle-billed storks, but I think you all forgive me now, especially after coming across one of our favorite leopards. But let's go across to Tristan again in the tent so we can finish that chat about the storks.
Well, I can't blame you, Tayla. At the end of the day, the leopard is far better than the saddle-billed stork, and he is one of my favorites too. Tingana is an absolutely beautiful male, so I can't blame you at all. He's very pretty, and he's looking great. He looks like he's in really good condition, so happy to see that he's all doing well, and there's no longer that limp that he had for a while, so it's all good. So going back to our saddle-billed storks and what we were about to start discussing was the difference between male and female. Now, I can't remember offhand now which one Tayla had, but I think she had a male. And the reason why I say that is because the male will have a very dark eye and the female has a very bright yellow eye. And I seem to remember that bird flying off having a dark eye. So if we have a look here, there is the difference between the male and female. You can see the female here in front. Okay, so she had both of them, I believe, but we zoomed in on the male. So you can see the female here in front. She's the one that's got the yellow eye. Sorry, Craig, am I back? There we go. And then the male at the back there, the dark eye with yellow wattles. So he has these two little yellow wattles that hang down from underneath his beak. And that's how you can tell the difference between the two of them. And then the juvenile, which looks very, very different. If you have a look here, I'll use the table just to stabilize, but the juvenile has no coloration. You see it lacks the red beak and the yellow. It's just a gray bird with that grayish beak and then those white and black feathers. So not nearly as impressive as the adult. So really, really cool for Tayla to see them, and I hope they stick around for a bit. They're really interesting birds to watch. Like I was saying earlier, they try to take on quite large prey animals. They do a lot of damage to all the frogs, and there's so many frogs at the moment, so they will have a field day at pans like Buffelshoek Dam and those kind of areas. So I hope that they stick around. The other side of it is they're also a part of the big six of birds. So those of you that keep up with these things and keep up with the big five and all of that, they are the part of the big six of birds. And so they are quite a special one, and like I say, highly endangered at the moment. As we push northwards out of South Africa and you go into Botswana and Zambia, you find that their numbers are not too bad. But down here in South Africa, not too great. All right, so while we were sitting in the tent earlier, I thought I'd have a look around and see what we could find. And if you have a look behind me here, we have this impala skull with all these little protrusions hanging off of them at the moment. So those protrusions are what's done by a moth. So I thought I'd have a look at them and see what's actually going on inside one of these. I haven't actually ever seen the moth emerging, and I've been watching these ones, and unfortunately I haven't seen any in the stages of emerging yet. But I did find the husk of one of them, which is really quite interesting to put under a microscope, because you can see the exoskeleton shape, which is really, really cool. So if we have a look, you can see there that there is the wings that were formed, and then the body formed underneath the wings, and it eventually got its way out by eating through where the head would have been. So it would have cracked through there and then crawled out, and then it would have sat for a while on one of those tubes and waited until it was time, its wings dried out, and then it would have hatched off and flown. Now, the interesting thing about these moths is what they actually feed on. So unlike all the other moths out here, or insects, or any other animal, none of them can actually digest this keratin that is on the horn. So that hard outer layer that we see on the horn is called keratin, and it's much like your fingernails, and it's a very difficult substance to break down. And so these are the only insects that are able to actually break down that part of the horn. So you'll find the moth will land there, it lays its larvae, and the larvae then starts to eat on this keratin sheath of the horn structure itself. And as the larvae feeds, it starts to release silk and mixes its feces with the silk to form this little tube that you see here. So that's basically, as the larvae is growing, so it stacks up and grows and grows and grows and grows until eventually it's fully grown, and then it will just eat its way out the top and come out and fly away. But absolutely amazing. Now, the impala horns behind me are covered in them, and so there's quite a few that are there, and it's going to be interesting to see how long it's going to take until all of that keratin is gone, because it'll keep happening. The moths will keep landing and they'll keep feeding, and eventually you'll find that the entire keratin sheath is completely eaten away, and all that will be left is bone, which is really quite something when you think about it. All right, so we're going to go to Jamie now, and I believe she's got some striped horses for all of you to see.
Beautiful striped horses who, up until 2 seconds ago, one was posing beautifully on a termite mound. The zebra stallion had wandered up onto a termite mound to survey the area around him, and he'd given us such a beautiful view. He was sort of silhouetted against the dramatic sky. You can see the Drakensberg Mountains in the distance. It was all very, very beautiful. But unfortunately, live wildlife filming, he just didn't want to stick around and hold that pose for too much longer. And now it seems as though the rest of the herd have disappeared off into the vegetation as well. Oh well. I'm going to go to Arathusa airstrip because I haven't been there in ages. Now I want to see what's happening there. There's always the chance of bumping into Shadow. And then we'll go back. That's actually really stunning. I'm sorry, I know I keep talking about the view. But look at the light coming through the mountains. Can you see it there, Vim? Look at that. Through the rain. And the setting sun in the Drakensberg Mountains. That is gorgeous. Just the pitter-patter of the rain on the roof. Magic. I'm sure you don't want to miss out on a moment with Tingana, so while we enjoy some scenery watching, let's go and watch a leopard with Tayla.
So we're following Tingana at the moment, and he is on a bit of a territorial patrol. He's marking as he goes along. So we're going to have to play leapfrog, though while we've been off air, we've made sure that we've given the other guides a good opportunity to jump in front and have a look at him. But I think it's our chance now to take a long stare at this beautiful boy. And my goodness, you work hard when you're trying to track down Tingana. You can ask Brent, well, you can actually ask all of us. We've all had an experience where we think we're just behind him, we're almost there, we're going to view him, and then he does a little sneaky and he disappears. I'm going to jump in front this time. Alright, let's us have a go, and then we'll try and pull off the road. So as we're driving, it's going to be a little bit bumpy with all the camera work, of course. But we've just got to keep moving. But we're going to keep a distance away from him. We'll just make sure we don't bother him. He's going to mark again. You see how he goes up and rubs his cheek against the tree. And then, of course, spraying urine as well. And we're going to get a lovely scent coming off of that tree. And if you have just started watching and you are new, welcome. And you probably think that I'm completely crazy after saying that leopard urine smells nice. Now, not everybody can smell it, but most people can smell the delicious buttered popcorn smell that you get from a leopard urine. Oh, delicious. Lovely. Now, Sage, you're wondering what would happen if Tingana were to find Hosana and Xongile. I don't think anything. I'm going to pull off the road over here just so that another vehicle can see while he's sat down to groom. So I don't think he would really be too bothered. Hello, boy. Sorry, it's okay. I'm just making space so everyone else can come and see you. There we go. So I think he'd probably see them. I don't know what he would do if Karula wasn't around, but I've seen a couple of interactions where a female with her cubs has had a very pleasant interaction with a male leopard that is the sire of the offspring, and it's not usually for too long. I've seen them greet before, not this one, I'm talking about a different leopard now by the name of Little Bush, and a big male by the name of Mashabeni, which is down in the southern sector of the Sabi Sand Game Reserve. And he sort of went up to her, they greeted, and then he hissed a little bit at the cubs. Her little cub actually approached Mashabeni, looked at him, sort of looking head staring straight to the sky, and then that was the end of it. Then he didn't show any interest and moved off. And I'm sure it'll be a similar interaction between Tingana and his offspring. I don't think he'd be particularly bothered in entertaining them, though knowing Hosana, he's a funny one. He reminds me of Dumbo the elephant, just like the whole personality, very lovable and just wants everybody to like him and that type of thing. But sometimes he doesn't use his brain, like when he decides to go chasing after elephants. Of course, we can know that that's not very clever. For a young, inexperienced leopard to do something along those lines, he's going to get himself into a lot of trouble. So hopefully he gets a bit of sense as he gets older. But I don't think he'd be bothered by Tingana too much. Tingana might hiss at him and snarl, and then he'll probably move off and away. But as he gets older now, he's going to have to be careful, because essentially he's a threat to Tingana. Not now, but in a couple years' time. Though I think Hosana will probably move quite far away from this area. I can hear a couple of branches breaking in the distance, so I wonder if that's not the Ellies that we had seen earlier. Now we're going to play leapfrog again. We're going to let this other vehicle that's just behind us have a chance and let them continue on forward behind Tingana, and then we will wait our turn again and take our spot that's how we have to do things when we're out here, of course, on safari, is you have to share these beautiful animals. And of course we have no problem in doing that. Wasn't that cool? That was really nice. But we're not going to leave him at all. We're just going to have to shuffle back in the queue, and I think that there's enough space. I think Taxon's going to come through now. There we go. He's marking again. You saw him scraping with his paws, and then again urinating, and off he goes. And sometimes he'll spray it up towards the tree. Sometimes he urinates straight down onto the ground. It just depends. So we're going to jump back third in the queue now and let them have a view. Oh no, hang on, it seems as though this other vehicle is going. That's behind us. That's all right. So that means that we've got an opportunity. We're just going to be behind Taxon. But while we wait for our chance to get a better spot, and hopefully he settles down somewhere, maybe sits up on a big tree, which would be wonderful, we'll go across to Jamie, who's having a lot of luck with the smaller things.
That's a very, very nice way of saying that. We haven't had any luck with much at all this afternoon. Well, we've had some lovely impala and some zebra and so on. But other than that, the great Arathusa International Airport, which is basically just the airstrip at Arathusa, is completely dead quiet. There's not even any animals hanging around up at the... Oh, whoa, that was a big hole. I'm sorry, Viam. That was a surprise hole on the other end of a bump. Sorry, I just want to go and have a look at what caught us out there for future reference. That was completely invisible, that hole. You can see it clearly from this direction. But you absolutely could not see it from the direction that we were driving in. That's something to remember, Viam. There is a large hole in the middle of the road. No luck with Shadow, and of course now if we do see her with her cubs, we'll probably have to leave her just because we won't be able to, obviously, won't be putting spotlights on them when they are this young. Fortunately, that's not a problem that Tayla will have with Tingana this evening. But we definitely can't spotlight her, and we can't really spotlight the hyena cubs either. So we'll have to go off in search of, as Tayla said, some of the smaller things. This so-called storm has been a bit of a flop. It's pretty much dispersed. There's a bit of rain falling over there. But other than that, I think it's only going to hit a little bit later this evening, which is when we'll find it really bucketing down. Be interested. I'm so glad that Tristan made that rain gauge in the tent so that we can actually get an idea as to how much rain we're getting, since I don't think the weather station's working at the moment. But luckily Tristan has solved that problem for us in the form of that rain gauge. Oh, the last time I saw a leopard down here was Quitile many years ago. As though Taylor's had some luck in leapfrogging with the other vehicles. Let's go and have a look at Tingana.
We are back with him, and well, again, we've got a rear view of his beautiful rump. So I'm actually enjoying looking at the backside of Tingana. I think that there could be worse things that we could be looking at today. So this isn't too bad. He's approaching the drainage system now. So he's almost about to head towards... let's see if we can jump in front quickly. Let's sneak past Taxon. We'll get a view and then we'll pull off. Hello, everybody. So he's coming up to Giraffe Dip, so quite close to where Gari Cutline is, and we know that there's often impala that frequent that area, and then you'll also have a good view and probably be able to hear a little bit better if there were any impala down at the dam, which there normally are. And perhaps you can see, I think the dam cam is working, so you can let us know. You can hashtag Safari Live whether there are any antelope or things at the dam. I'm just going to stand by over here. I've got a little bit of light on him. I haven't put my spotlight on just yet. We will get there eventually. Okay, he's going so slowly. Let's try go forward again. Like I said, as we move and we've got the camera on him, you're obviously going to see a bit of movement. Oh, listen. Sorry about that. I was driving and I was trying to roll out of the way so Taxon could see him. But this road is so narrow. So that was him calling. That is him doing a territorial call. So he's letting everybody else know in the area that he is out and about. And we're going to be doing this for most of the time that he keeps moving, is starting and stopping the vehicle. So like I said, you're going to see a little bit of vibration on your screen, but we have to keep it up because, well, it's what we're going to be doing the entire time. We follow him. I'm just going to pull off slightly so that Taxon can come up behind again and have a look. Oh, I need the spotlight. There we go. You see him spraying once again. And he walks this route on a regular basis. This is definitely not the first time that he's done this. He's well equipped and he knows exactly which shrubs he's going to be marking on. He's been in this area for quite a number of years now. So he knows his way around his territory very, very well. We're going to let Taxon come past again. And then we'll take a back seat again and then wait till he comes out of this drainage line. Tax, you can fumble if you like. Oh, something's just darted out of the bushes. I just heard the brushes sort of move. I don't know what it is though. Okay. Right. Okay, well then let's quickly move on. So we've actually managed to jump in the queue once more. Tax has let us jump in front again, so we'll stick with him until he gets down here. Oh, you know what it is? I'm going to keep going. I heard something move. There was a big elephant that was moving the shrub away. It's just behind there. It's a bit difficult to see, unfortunately. But we'll keep with the leopard. Thank you, elephant. You guys have been fantastic. I just don't want to lose sight of Tingana, because if he gives us the slip here, there'll be no finding him again. The drainage system, and then we'll see him crossing. And then we'll let Taxon take the lead again. Okay, so we've just lost him, but there he is. And there he goes through giraffe dip. Look at that. He's almost marking every couple of feet. I'd say every 20 to 30 feet he's marking his territory. Maybe he's going to give us another call again. It would be nice if he called in here, because you'd actually hear it echo in this drainage system. It would be really beautiful, but also stopping, just having a look. This is a good area for Inyala, for bushbuck, and of course Dacre, and as well as Impala. We're going to go back across now to Tristan, who has been having lots of chats about all sorts of birds, and he loves the microscope, so I wonder what else he's going to show you this evening.
Well, we got a bit sidetracked because I was watching Tingana and you were talking about that he was starting to look like he's going to be hunting, and now's the perfect time of day. And with the storm looming and lots of thunder and lightning that's going on, it's going to be really good conditions for a predator to hunt in. And so we were watching a couple Nyala walking past the tent just now. They unfortunately disappeared into a thicket, so I think we need Tingana to come up this side if he wants to be doing some hunting and see what he can find. Now, talking about hunting, I believe the lovely James has narrated a short clip about our leopards and the way that they hunt in this area.
The leopard is nature's special forces operative, moving silently and invisibly through the woodland and savanna of Africa. To us, they are the epitome of sublime feline magnificence. To their prey, they are the soundless, unseen but ever-threatening presence of death. The leopard's method is a patient, secret stalk, followed by an explosive pounce, and then a lethal throat hold. Once dinner is dead, it must be secured from thieves. A pantry in a tree is an excellent solution.
Look at that incredible strength. Oh, he nearly fell over. Look how high he's taken it. Absolutely incredible.
But the wilderness has produced some persistent and ingenious villains. Because leopards are solitary hunters, they cannot afford to take physical risks, despite their often superior strength and speed. The scavengers know this. But time has not only blessed the leopard with ruthless grace and power. Patience is a virtue leopards possess in abundance. With their poise and style, leopards must surely be the most elegant yet lethal of nature's hunters.
What an incredible animal, and it's amazing to watch in that little bit of footage the amazing things that leopards get up to. And there's some of those sightings there, or one in particular that I was actually a part of, and that was when that massive male leopard Anderson took up that warthog into the tree. It was quite something to see. In fact, it was a bit of a sore point because the morning we had found him and we went back that afternoon, and I sat with him for a long period that afternoon. It was an incredibly hot afternoon and dry and dusty. It was before the rains arrived, and we sat there in this baking sunshine, and he lay about and he didn't move very much, and then he started to get up and show signs that he was going to move. So I sat and I sat and I sat and I sat, and eventually it got to the point where my guests, unfortunately, were needing to go and relieve themselves and go to the loo. And so as I pulled out, I was busy driving out, and I just heard that telltale sign behind me of leopard climbing tree, and we unfortunately missed him actually going up into the tree. And later I saw Brent, who was in the sighting with me, and he showed me this video of this leopard climbing, and absolutely an incredible display of power. It is also Anderson, and he is an absolutely massive male, so it's not surprising he was able to take it up, but it would have been so nice to have just watched that whole process. But Tingana is also not that small. He's also a really big guy, and I've seen him hoist some incredibly big kills as well. In fact, I've had an amazing sighting of him killing a giraffe once before. It wasn't a fully grown giraffe, but it was quite large nonetheless. And to see a leopard stalking and going after these big giraffe or big animals is absolutely incredible. So let's hope that Tingana carries on tonight and starts to go into a bit of a stalk, and hopefully Tayla will be with him when he does start to hunt.
I do hope that he hunts. He's just sat down in the grass. I'm just going to pull off the side like this. Hello, boy. And I'm going to turn my LED towards him. And there he is. And he is just putting on the most unbelievable show for us this afternoon. He's looking absolutely fantastic. Big and strong, not thin, very muscly, lovely dewlap. And now he's just checking his paws to make sure that there's no thorns. But you've been walking on the roads, mister, so your paws should be nice and clean. Oh, but he is a lovely leopard. And we've pulled right off of the side of the road. We've given him quite a bit of space, so you know how relaxed Tingana is. He's probably going to get up and literally walk straight past us, which will be very exciting. So I hope you're ready to take some really cool screenshots, and I'll try and keep a spotlight on him. Now, speaking of Tingana walking on the road, Costa, you were wondering exactly that. Why do the animals walk on the road? Now, I'm going to just see if I can lighten this up a bit with my yellow light from the spotlight. Well, they're easy to move around on. They've got their own pathways too, which they absolutely love to use. However, it is nice that we've got these big roads that we move around on, and especially on wet days when the grass is very wet. I can tell you right now, unless the cat is very hungry, they're not a fan of getting completely soaked. And I don't know if you've ever seen any of us after a bushwalk first thing in the morning. We're drenched from the waist down from cutting through and using animal pathways on the grass. So that's one of the reasons. And then, well, it's easy. It's a good place to mark their territory. It's, like I said, it's nice and open. There's normally big trees and things on the side of the road, and so he will utilize all of those. And elephants do the same thing. They often use our pathways, but you know how thick-skinned elephants, buffalo, rhinos are. It doesn't really bother them too much. They'll jump onto their own pathways and weave around on them too. But sometimes it's just a bit easier to use our network. Having a good groom, and I'm so glad that he's decided to sit still. Oh, look at that tongue. I love it when he looks straight behind, or straight towards us, sorry. Something keeps catching his attention. There are definitely a lot of elephants moving around, but the way that his ears are twitching now, I wonder if he hasn't heard. maybe the footsteps of an impala or something along those lines moving through here. No, now he's gone back to grooming. Now, Report Globe, you've said that don't leopards get dehydrated by scent marking all the time. I'm sure they do, but when they do stop and have a drink, often they'll drink for like 5 to 10 minutes. They'll just be there lapping up water. So they're able to accumulate a lot of water. Also, they get most of the water that they need from the animals that they're feeding on. So when they do catch an impala or another species of antelope, they will be fine. Oh, you rest my arm a little bit better. There we go. And so yes, he might actually go and have a drink. I don't think he's had a drink just yet. We're coming up to Tayla Dam, so he might go down there. He often walks across the dam wall, though he also likes to pop into some of these horrible drainage systems, which will make it pretty difficult for us to follow him. So I hope that he doesn't do that. So let's hope he does go and have a drink. You know what the most incredible animal that I've ever seen when it comes to scent marking is rhinos. Rhinos, when they spray urine up against the tree, and if you've ever been on a safari and seen it, it is unbelievable. It must be at least a litre every single time when they mark their territory. And they'll go on for the entire day and mark. And sometimes, or they probably stop and have a drink. But I just think to myself, where on earth do they store all of that urine? Where does it keep coming from? It's unbelievable. So next time, or if you are planning a trip to go on safari, just take note if you do go to an area where there are rhinos and you perhaps come across a bull that is marking his territory, and just watch it, the amount of urine that comes out of him, and then also how frequently he does it. It's outstanding. It really is something unbelievable to see. My mind is often boggled by it when I watch it. You can still see he's panting. It's still a little bit warm out here. Now, as he's walking around here, we've seen a variety of different animals in this area. Elephants, buffalo, giraffe, other leopards, and then as well as the lions. And Joy, you were wondering if Tingana were to come across a fresh lion scent mark, what would he do? I reckon he'd probably smell it. He'd be intrigued by it. Knowing Tingana, he doesn't seem to be scared of too much, although I think he has been chased up a tree before by one of the Nkuhuma lionesses. So he might even scent mark near it, but I think he'd move out of the area. I think he'd figure out which way that those lions were going, and he wouldn't want to mess with a lion. He's going to get himself into an unnecessary situation where in the end he's going to be the one that's at risk of getting injured, because even a female lioness is much larger than what Tingana is. And like I said, Jamie actually was in a sighting where it was the youngest Nkuhuma lioness, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to ask her exactly to recap about that sighting. But Tingana was chased up a tree. Sorry, I flicked a mosquito away that was about to bite me, but it didn't. Oh, you really are a beautiful cat, Tingana, and he's growing on me every time I see him. He is just wonderful. Now you'll notice I've got the spotlight on him, but it's not directly on his body. I've actually just shone it just on the ground, just below. So there's just a little bit of light reflecting up at him. There's no need to spotlight him in the eyes. I don't think it would be very pleasant with him. You'd see him start to squint them. And that's also another thing, a very important thing when you are out. And say you go somewhere. Oh, wow, this is very exciting. I'll get back to the spotlight news. Let's go across to Jamie and the royal family.
The royal family in infrared. What an exciting surprise. Peter Dunhauser from Nkorok, who called us over frantically to let us know that they were there, and gives Liam a chance to test out his infrared lamp, which is working marvelously. So there we go. Hello. Yo, Mr. Hosana, you're bigger than your mum now. Oh, this is so wonderful. We didn't find Shadow, but we found, somewhat accidentally, the royal family. Let's go and catch up with them. What a lovely way to end off our sunset safari. We go and catch up with them on this end. Oh, I see little moving bushes. That tells me Hosana's up to his usual tricks. There they go. Come on, turn north. Go right. We're just going to keep meandering alongside them, not get in their way. There we go. Tingana, Hosana, Xongile and Karula. 4 leopards in one sunset safari after all that. And here we thought it was going to be a boring drive. No, we didn't. We never thought that. Hello, Hosana. There we go. So for our new viewers, this is a mother and her 2 cubs. That's the male glancing back at us. Mom is walking in front. And then his sister Xongile on the left. What are you doing? What are you doing, you silly goof? What was Tayla saying about him earlier? Being so terribly sweet. That's a blackjack. You don't want to eat that. He's like Dumbo. Very sweet and wants all the love but doesn't always use his head. I think that's perfect. What a perfect description. Okay, let's go and catch up. Come on, guys. Go north. Ooh, doing some risky driving here. Off-road. In the long grass. I'm just keeping parallel to one of the other vehicles so that we don't block their view. I thought she was on a kill in Little Gowrie. Did they finish it already? Quite extraordinary if they did. Okay. Let's just make it over this mitre drain. And then we should have a clear run to go and catch up with them. Here we go. Remember, for our new viewers, this is all happening right here and right now. And what you're seeing, there goes Slinky Xongile. Looking good, Xongile. Sorry, I have to turn my lights off so I don't blind poor Peter's guests. And we're going to keep up with the royal family until, hopefully, they come on to Djuma and we know where to start with them tomorrow morning. But while we do, let's go across to Tayla and see what Tingana is up to.
He's actually just called. He just gave a nice big saw and now he's decided to sit down again. So it seems as though he's slowing down his territorial patrol now. I think he's actually been out and about maybe for quite some time before he was spotted this afternoon. Because he hasn't really walked very far since when we saw him. He's probably walked about 1.5 miles, if even that. So normally they'll go for ages before they eventually stop and settle down. But I suspect that his tummy is grumbling and he's probably a little bit hungry too. But Tingana, you better not call like that because you're going to let all the impala and all the different animals know that you are here. So that wouldn't be a very good idea to carry on soaring like that. And we haven't seen anybody else's tracks in the form of a male leopard's tracks, so Tingana, you don't have to worry about that. There's no boys here trying to steal your spot. And as he gets closer, I'll drop the spotlight and then I'll just let the LEDs take their role. Look at this, he's going to walk right past us. I'm going to just put the spotlight off him as he'll walk into this LED light. I'm actually going to stretch my arm over, you might see it, and try and follow him with it. Hello, boy. You've got to sit very, very still, especially where I am. There he goes. We'll just turn around again because I haven't got a door. So if you shuffle your feet at all, he's going to see that movement quite easily. Let's turn around. This is so amazing. And everyone is left. Can you believe it? We're the only ones here. Woo! This is amazing. I can't believe that we are the only ones here. Oh, there's lightning. There he is. Oh no, why did my lights go off? That's no good. Hey, Brian? No. Why is that working? Sorry, I'm trying to... There he is, doing a big saw. Sorry, I can't get my headlights to stay on, so we'll have to hold the spotlight on him, which is a bit of a nuisance. Now, the monkeys are alarming now. They've obviously heard him soaring away, so they're now shouting about, telling everybody else that there's someone here. Now, you've seen on Tingana, he's got quite a large dewlap. And Anna, you were wondering, what is the function of that dewlap? Now, for a leopard, you see lions don't have dewlaps. And for a leopard, it's because when they do fight, they go for each other's throats. I'm going to start the vehicle up. I think let's catch up to him before he disappears. Is that all that extra skin and tissue around his neck will actually help protect his vital organs, so his throat. So that is the main function for a big male leopard, to have a big dewlap like that. No, not all of them get it. Some of them it's more prominent than others. Like on the Anderson male, it's quite large as well. Mashobeni down south, it's not that big. And then on Mandlev, who is the son of Mbavala or Vin Diesel, and so does Mbavala, they've got massive dewlaps. And urinating again. Look at that beautiful shadow that he's got. Well, that's casted from the spotlight. Isn't that amazing? We're going to keep following him. I'm hoping that he's going to go down for a drink, but let's go across to Jamie, who's got a better view now of the royal family.
And the interesting thing is that the royals are walking straight into Shadow's territory. I mean, of course, we always talk about the fact that the boundary is fluid, but Karula is just about to lead her cubs right onto Arathusa. So she's right on the western boundaries of her usual territory. I wonder why she's doing that. They do occasionally pop out onto Arathusa, so it's not a completely unexpected or unprecedented move on her behalf. There we go. VM just playing a little bit with the IR lights. Get an idea of how they're working. That's great fun. Okay. It's going to get a little bit more tricky from here on, just because we won't have the width of the road to follow them. So let's have a quick look. Thank you. Okay, Peter says we can go ahead. Wonderful. Are you on? Thanks very much. Much appreciated. There we go. On to Arathusa we go. Peter giving us the lovely view. Marvelous. Leopards in infrared. Here we go. Trot, trot, trot. Catch up with Mum. Giving us so many different perspectives on these leopards as they prowl forward. Let's go and see where they decide to settle. Oh, gonna have a drink? No, changed his mind. Her mind, sorry, that's Xongile. And Karula now bringing up the rear. So they're all full-bellied, and I spoke to Peter earlier and he told me that they were on Little Gowrie on a kill. So it must have been either a small kill or she lost it to the hyenas, which is distinctly possible because they've been moving around a lot in that area. But they all three of them are looking quite round and well fed, so at least they did manage to eat some of it. I can't believe how big Hosana's got. Okay, VM, I didn't find you one leopard, but we did find 3. Well, we were handed 3 on a platter, actually.
Leopards that she gave up for ours.
Actually, that's a very good point. We got Taylor's leopard, she got ours. That's not a bad way to end off an evening. Oh, shame. Poor Karula getting battered once again by her overly affectionate son, who likes to show his love for his mum by whacking her in the face with his bottom. Something that I don't think Karula appreciates all that much. Now, once they start moving into thick bush, then we're going to probably leave them. It's going to get really, really tricky to follow them. Interestingly enough, Karula's scent marking a lot. And Hosana, every time she does, comes and runs up to the bush next to her, jumps into it, and then imitates her scent marking technique. So he urine scent marks on top of his mum. And he's done this every time we've seen them doing this. Okay, wandering off. Xongile, your mum and your brother have just gone the opposite direction. And we have to be, I don't want to get between them here. Let me just keep an eye. I'm sure I saw a leopard go off this way. Or did I imagine that? No, I only see 2 there. No, there goes Xongile, naughty little monkey. Going off to investigate. Hey, madam. Your mum's going the other way. And off she vanishes. Cheeky little monkey. And then all the way across on the other side, there goes Karula and Hosana. Yes, and then you start to panic, little madam. Alright, I don't want the vehicle now, the noise, to keep the two of them separate from each other. You got her there? No, she's vanished. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reposition very quickly for one last view, and then we shall probably leave the royals to go about their evening business. I wonder where we're going to find them tomorrow. Perhaps, there we go, one last look. One last look at Mom and Son as they go along the road. And we're going to leave them for the evening. Whoops, sorry, big bump. There we go. Where shall they end up tomorrow? You'll have to stay tuned to the Sunrise Safari to find out. But perhaps Tristan has a better idea of where he might guess these leopards will pop out. Let's go across and hear it from him.
Well, Jamie, this is my face when two girls are sitting with leopards and I'm stuck in a tent and no rain. And my rain gauge is not getting any water in it either. It's a very unfortunate set of circumstances. No, in all honesty, I'm really glad that they both have leopards. It's amazing that we've had 4 different leopards this evening. That's absolutely incredible. And I believe Brent is in the final control and he's laughing as well. Well, Brent, the joke is on you because I've been hearing you in this tent telling everybody about how we don't find leopards unless you are out there. Well, I'm telling you now that the girls just found 4 without you, and you were sitting on the couch. So unlucky. Maybe better luck next time. Right. So I've decided that because we are all things leopards with the females, I'm going to just go on a complete different tangent, and we're going to go away from leopards because it's going to depress me otherwise if I talk about leopards any longer, because I would love to be with them. So I was walking around earlier and we were talking about the stingless bees and the giraffe skull and how they weren't around, and I was kind of thinking about things, and I went and I saw that we have acacias flowering outside. Now, giraffe skulls, as you can see behind me here's our giraffe, and we have these acacias that are busy flowering, and giraffe, which you can see the size of, I mean, that's my hand that's there, is absolutely massive, and they will travel around just feeding off the little flowers of acacias. So I thought I would put a little flower under the microscope just to see why they would want to go there. And as you can see, there is our little yellow sphere of happiness, which is what the giraffe are really after. Now, what's interesting about this is you notice that it's got lots of little strands coming up. Now, each one of those strands is actually a flower. So you can imagine how much nutrients is packed inside a small little ball like this. There is lots and lots and lots of minerals and sugars and really high quality food, as well as the fact that it's very, very tasty. If you take one of these flowers and you smell it, it's got a very sweet smell. So for the giraffe, I would imagine that not only does this taste good, but it is really, really good for them. So it's pretty incredible to see that even though it looks like one little flower from the outside, when you look at it like this, you can see that there are thousands of flowers that make up this small little sweet smelling yellow ball. So pretty incredible stuff. And I'm quite impressed that a giraffe, being the size that it is, would utilize such a small food source. It's quite an unbelievable thing to actually look at. So very, very cool. Now, I was hoping that we'd maybe get some sort of insect inside that little ball, but unfortunately not. I rolled it around under the microscope and nothing. Now, the other interesting thing is that those acacias, now I've got a little leaf just so you can see. Now, that is the leaf of an acacia, well, actually a little branch, and you can see all the tiny little leaves on there. Now, if we compare this to the size of the giraffe skull, I'll put it up against its tooth so you can actually see how big these leaves are. So if I put it there we go. Imagine that animal is eating that for a living. It's pretty insane that that is what they feed off. Now, the interesting thing about the acacia is because it's fed off so heavily by giraffe, and you'll find also elephant and kudu, nyala, they go after it quite a bit as well. So the interesting thing about these acacias is because they're fed on so heavily by these animals, they have a bit of a defense system. You'll find that acacias will be able to increase the amount of tannins in their leaves, and that will make the leaves start to turn bitter. And that's why you find when giraffe feed off them, they only feed off a little bit, and then they'll start to move on to the next tree, and that's because the tree becomes very, very bitter. Now, the other interesting thing is that this tree will actually be able to start secreting pheromones when it's fed upon, which will be carried on the wind down to the other acacias in the area, and those acacias will start to produce tannins before the giraffe even gets there to stop any sort of feeding on them, which is absolutely incredible. All right, so enough about my giraffe and my acacias. I think let's go back to Tayla with the leopards, who are far more interesting.
Tristan, you don't do yourself too much justice there. So we actually had a very exciting moment just a second ago. I had to turn all of my lights off though, because an elephant snuck up the road behind us, a young elephant bull, very much like the one we saw earlier, but not the same individual, and sort of stared Tingana down, and all Tingana did was he just stood up and, well, he walked away, and the elephant went the opposite way. And I got to experience something which I haven't done before, which I haven't experienced before, which was a leopard calling while an elephant was in the area as well. And the elephant did absolutely nothing. The spotlight's a little bit, there we go. I thought that the elephant would have reacted to that, and he was completely relaxed. He didn't do anything. But he's on the dam wall now, and I think we're going to have to keep up with him, and we're going to lose him. But you can see the light. Now, Diana, you were actually asking if I'd ever seen elephants chasing leopards. I have. I heard of elephants push a female leopard out of a thick bush before, which was really funny to watch. She, of course, is much quicker than them, and she got away. But I've never, like I said, I've never been in the instance where a leopard has called. And then, of course, we've been there sitting with an elephant, and I can't believe his response. Although, when you are the size of an elephant, I think very little bothers you, and especially a leopard. A leopard could not do any damage to an elephant that weighed almost 3 tons. So, and it was like I said, it was a young bull. So he was probably quite curious about that. But you should be able to see, well, from 2 different cameras now, us with Brian filming, and then of course from the dam cam, you'll be able to watch us as well. So that's quite cool. Different view. Right, let's keep up with him again. He's doing a path that he walks on a regular basis across the dam wall, and he's going to cut down, and there were lots of impala shouting about. I can actually see that I'm going lights down, right? Everybody, we're turning lights off. You're going to just have to look at me. There's quite a few impala that's standing in the distance, though. I think that they've obviously heard him, but there's still a chance that he could sneak down through this little dip and come out the other side and try and surprise them. There is still an opportunity. We'll just see what he does do. You never know. And Acosta, you're wondering if male leopards are solitary. He's just here in front of us, but I'm not going to put the light on him just now. We want to give him the benefit of a doubt if he is going to decide to catch something or not. And yes, they are. They're completely solitary. Male and female mark and defend territories. And so will Karula's cubs, Hosana and Xongile, eventually when they're old enough, and probably the next few months for Xongile, probably towards the end of the year, and then Hosana might stick around for a little bit longer before he goes off. So I'm just going to explain what he's doing. Tingana's about over there. He's just standing at the edge of the wall, and he's scanning out onto his surroundings. And like I said, I saw a lot of reflection. It's quite far away still, but on that open area that's just on the other side of this little drainage system, there are plenty impala. They know he's here. They haven't alarmed though, but they were looking straight at us. We'll just give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's go forward. I think he's dropped down now. Myself a little, yeah. Just quickly checking, he has dropped down into this dip. We'll be able to view him down here because the impala are standing up and on the other side, so they won't see him. There he is. Hello, boy. And while he's down in this little dip, we should be okay to have a look. Oh, we're just starting to get a little bit of a spitter spatter. Oh no, Tingana, come back! Where can we go? Can we go down here? Trying to work out what his plans are. See if he's gonna go and have another drink. He did have a quick drink. Tingana. He's going over there. Okay, let's quickly zoom around. Let's go around to the other side of the dam. Hang on, I'm in Wendy. I have to press that button. And then we should get another view of him, so we'll be pretty quick. Whee! Up we go. Hi, all you impala that are standing around. There's no one right here where the cam used to be. You just have a quick look. Yes, I can see there's a big herd of impala just down over here, but they are watching in this direction. They heard him. And Tingana was coming along down over here, so we should see him in a moment. Just try and get to the edge a little bit. There he is. Hello, boy. Hang on. Please come for a drink. I want to get us in the best spot, as you know, because I want you to all be able to have the best screenshots. So if he comes for a drink, this will be perfect. He's just walking along the edge. Make sure there's no holes that I'm going to go falling into, because that wouldn't be too fun. Where have you gone? Oh, he's coming. He's just through there. You might get the reflection of his eyes through the long grass. He's over here somewhere. There he is. He's gone to the left. He's coming past the shrub now. I don't think you'll see him. He's behind over here, behind these shrubs. And now we're just going to wait patiently for him to pop out. Oh no, the little spitter spatter of the rain is starting again. Where did you go, Tingana? I hope he hasn't decided to go down here. Let me go forward a little bit more. Oh no, here he is. Good boy. Good boy. Hello, boy. He might come and walk right past us again. I don't know if he's going to have a drink. Hello, David. You've asked us on this fine afternoon as Tingana sniffs the air if I know why leopard urine smells like popcorn. That's actually a very good question. I'm not sure, because Janet urine also smells like popcorn. So I'm uncertain as to why. And as I say that, I get a lovely fresh scent of him. Maybe Tristan knows, can elaborate a little bit more of that. It's just, I suppose, it's the chemicals that they're emitting. But it's weird that leopards and genets have the same sort of smell on their urine. And he's going behind the car again. Oh, Wendy, you're full of excitement today. And Wendy's going to just pop around just over here. Not Wendy, Tingana. Where is he? I cannot see him. Is he right behind us?
No.
Okay, so we're not going to move. There he is. You can see how close he is. Now, Tingana, you're going the wrong way if you're hungry, because the impala are a little bit further south from where you are. Something has caught his attention. I don't know what he's lapping. Looks like he's eating something. Maybe he's feasting on grass, which leopards and the big cats will often do, is because when they are feeding on their prey, will end up munching on quite a bit of hair. And, well, they need to get rid of those hairballs, and one of the best ways to do that, to sort of induce a vomit and a cough, is actually just to eat some grass. And I think that's what's happening right now. Hello, boy. He's sitting so close to us. He's less than 6 feet away from us. And that just shows you how comfortable these animals are. And that he quite happily walked towards us and then decided to sit right behind us. Here we go. He's got something stuck on his tongue. How's that face that he's pulling? And he's got gorgeous eyes, doesn't he? Andreen, you've said, as we come to the final moments of the show, that this has been a perfect Catterday. It has indeed been a perfect Catterday. It's been really wonderful, filled with all sorts of animals, Tingana and, of course, the royal family. Now, I wonder what he's going to do now. This is very exciting. He's around camp, so hopefully he won't go too far for the sunrise safari so that we can find him again. But you know that he's able to cover a huge amount of ground. But that is all the time that we have for you this fine evening. I hope that you've enjoyed it. It has been absolutely spectacular. A big thank you to everybody in Final Control and all the hard work. But for myself and Brian, it's been wonderful. We'll catch you on the sunrise safari.